Hello, everybody. I don't know which camera to look at. Welcome to another episode of Expert in the House. It is your host, Petey, on CKRT Border City Radio. We have Donna and we have Johanna with us. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad.
We are on location at Johanna's house today. It's beautiful here.
Yeah, I'm sure you noticed it looks a little bit different
than the studio, yeah. They let us out once in a while.
Yeah. Don't mind any cats if they jump in frame. Just a fair warning. It might happen. We'll see.
All right. So, Johanna, thanks for being with us today. And you are a marketing specialist.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming out to my place. I really appreciate it. And thanks for having me. So I've worked in marketing for actually just over 28 years now. So marketing and advertising.
So it's your thing.
Oh,
it's definitely your thing.
I would say so. Yeah, I've stuck with it. I've attempted to leave the industry, and I always get pulled right back in. So I would agree with you. It's definitely my thing.
I think it's a tough go. Like, no, that job is not for everybody. It's I think it's very competitive.
It's extremely competitive, and I think it also really it creates a different sort of lifestyle too, because I think there's that big challenge with work-life balance in that industry. I think over the years it's gotten better, but definitely when I had entered the industry, it was a lot of working extremely long hours. Sometimes on pitches you would work 24/7, literally 24/7. I would go home just to shower and change and go right back to the office and keep working. But granted, I was in my 20s and I could do that.
The good old days. I remember those days.
So did you always want to get into marketing, like your whole life, ever since you were a little girl?
That's actually...
You're like 6 years old, like, I want to be a marketing specialist.
That is actually a great question, Petey. Funny enough, when I was a little girl, because my mom was a teacher, I wanted to be a teacher, and I used to teach to my stuffed toys, right? And so, and my Barbie dolls, right? And then cut later, I actually worked on Barbie, which is funny, right? I wanted to be a teacher. And then when I was trying to decide, because you know how they really put pressure on kids in high school to try to decide, where are you going to go to school? What are you going to...
They expect you to make these big decisions.
And you're still like a teenager, still figuring your own self out, right? So
that's how they get you.
Exactly. And so here...
It's the man. The man. It's all about the man. Yeah. The man wants you to choose a career.
Exactly.
I don't know. When I was 18, I thought it was a great idea.
Or 17. And sometimes
17,
you're younger and younger. And what was interesting is at that time then, I knew I wanted to be one of 5 things. I wanted to either be a teacher, a social worker, a lawyer, in advertising, or a cop. And there was a reason behind each one of them. So the teacher was, because I had seen my mom being a teacher and I really respected her for that. And I obviously had really amazing teachers all through school, so I admired them. And the reason I turned down teaching was I actually didn't like school. Like I didn't like school. I didn't like the whole memorizing, all that sort of thing, because I'm not very good at memorizing. So I didn't like school. And I saw how my mom would come home and literally have homework and grading and all that stuff. So that changed my mind. And then social work, was interested because I wanted to help people, but I talked to a lot of people who did it and sort of said, if you're very empathetic, you will take that home with you. And
you'll burn out quickly.
Exactly. And like the two of you know me, and so I would take everybody's...
You'd be done after the first week.
Exactly. The first week I'd be a basket case, right? So I couldn't do that one. And then I wanted to be a cop because I love the idea of like carrying a badge and a gun but then I knew I wouldn't pass a physical. So I was like, forget that. But I still have dreams to one day be a detective or solve crime.
That'd be cool. Become like a private investigator.
Exactly. Like, maybe one day when I retire, I'll be a PI or something. And then the lawyer, again, it was having to be in school for 8+ years and all that sort of pressure. And then the reason I wanted to do advertising was, and this is going to, again, date me, is because Melrose Place was on at the time. And remember how they made it look so sexy and fun and appealing, and like it was just a really hot sort of business to do. And so then I pursued that, and it was I took advertising media sales at Humber College in Toronto, because I lived in Toronto at the time. And even though I'm originally from this sort of area, Chatham, Kent County sort of area. And what ended up happening was it was really difficult to get into the course. So they only took so many numbers, and even though there was 100 that would go in every year, they would weed you down to like 20 throughout the course of you would be kicked out of the program. So when I applied, there wasn't a spot available, but I called the head coordinator of the course and said, I gotta get in. I really want to do this. I had graduated early from high school, and I knew that if I had spent another year working, I was a manager of a Shoppers Drug Mart at like 18, and I was like, if I still keep working at Shoppers Drug Mart, that's what I'm going to end up doing for the rest of my life. Not a bad job, but I didn't want to work in retail for the rest of my life. So I said, if I don't go back to school now, I've had 6 months off, like I'll stay off, right? So she let me in, and then I actually graduated early, top female. So
wow, congratulations!
Yeah. And actually, they were really great. They helped us get. Bless you. Are you okay?
Bless you.
Excuse me.
It's funny. I sneezed for the first time on the air yesterday.
You did. I know. I heard it.
Can you put that out? Please.
No, that was the cutest, quietest sneeze, right? But yeah, no. And then what ended up happening was the course was really great about helping with internships, and also helping the students, because again, they weeded us down. Like the final graduating class was only 20 of us, right? So, and you became a really close group. Like to this day, my graduating class are still my dearest friends. They'll be at my my wedding celebration next year. Like, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of them that I'm still very close to this day. And they set us up to either work in media departments on agency side, or as advertising sales. And I wanted to be on the agency side, because I really love the idea of having that direct relationship with the client. And one of the top global agencies had reached out to our course coordinator and said, we need an assistant to work on Bell Canada. And so I went and applied and landed the job before I graduated. And they said, well, you got the job. You're going to get paid. You don't need to do your internship. We'll give you your diploma. So I again was like, score. I didn't even have to write my final exams.
Wow.
I know.
So take me through the world of marketing. Like if someone said to me, we need you to do marketing for XYZ company, I honestly wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to begin to do that. So if someone reaches out, because you have a consulting business, you would get a call from a business, and they would say, what?
Usually they're calling because they want to obviously grow their business, or in some cases it might be an entrepreneur that wants to start a business or open a business, and then other ones, it's where they're established, but they're the issue is they're not having the sales that they want to see, or they might have a new sort of service or a new product that's coming in, and they know that they need help marketing that. So when they reach out to me, I think a lot of times people immediately are like, what's your budget? And for me, it's more about, obviously it's an important factor, but at the same time, it's really about me sitting down and talking with them and spending time with them and getting to know their business and what's important to them and what their goals are. Because I think you really can't give somebody proper advice when it comes to advertising and marketing if you don't know what they're really trying to achieve. Like not only this year, but what's their long-term goals with their business? Like what do they see that happening? Do they see this being one location? Do they see it expanding? Like what is their long-term growth plan? And I think a lot of times, certain, especially on the sales side, people will work with clients and be just sort of forcing them to, like, I have this to sell and you need to, I'm just going to sort of push this on you and buy this because this is what I'm selling to you. And for me, working with clients, as I do also with working with CKRT Border City Radio, it's really about trying to understand what's important to the client and how can we actually put something together that makes the most sense for that client, so that way it's, it's the right program that they're sponsoring, or it's the right tactic, be that, a contest or something, a long-term on air, or like a live event, for example, right? So it's really trying to understand what's their goals are, and then obviously budget plays a component into that. But there's a lot of times there's things as a marketing consultant where I can also give them advice on how they can do things that don't actually cost them that much money in the end, right? Because there's a lot of things that can be done through social media and other tactics, and media releases and press releases that can really help get the word out there.
How do you think now, because 20 years ago social media wasn't a thing?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was, but it barely, right?
Yeah. Well, and then also when I first started in 1996, the internet was just sort of being established. Like,
yes. Internet
advertising was just starting then.
So how do you think that has affected the marketing?
Social media, it's interesting. Well, because first of all, internet, when it first sort of ramped up in the late 90s, early 2000s, that we really watched in the industry how advertising spend changed, right? Because like obviously when I first started out, it was very much about your traditional media vehicles. So like that was your television, your radio, or your out of home, and your print vehicles, whether that's newspaper or magazines. And then when as the internet sort of evolved and became a total platform all to its own, with so many different options, that over the years has constantly taken advertising spend from traditional media. But now what happens is, in marketing, we really sort of approach it as we're really looking at sort of the entire landscape, because digital definitely has changed, not just from a social media standpoint, but just all the different tactics that you can do from a digital standpoint, because it's everything from, taking advantage of also the platforms that you as a client and actually some larger marketers have that already exist. So a lot of times when I've been working with especially larger clients, it's about, we always call it, what's your owned property. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the properties that you own. So like that's your website, that's your social media channels, that's, again, if depending the type of marketer that you are, you might have already established an audience even through newsletters and things like that. So how are you taking advantage of that to get the word out there about your new product that's coming out or about your new service that's available? So there's a lot of owned properties that you can, and you want to make sure that as you're putting together their marketing campaign for whatever campaign, or for whatever, when you're putting together the recommendation for their campaign, sorry, I think you probably just heard my cats tear up the stairs. So.
It's all right.
They're on a mission.
I know, they're on a mission. They have the zoomies. So you always want to make sure that that you're considering all of those platforms together, so that way it's not just what you've paid, so the advertising vehicles that you're paying for, but it's also you're taking advantage of what you own. And then social media, as you mentioned, it also has continued to take a lot of advertising budgets. But I've also seen recently a lot of clients get quite frustrated with a lot of social media channels, and specifically with Meta, who, as you know, they own, Instagram and
yes.
Facebook, and they're constantly changing their platform all the time. And so I've seen a lot of advertisers actually start to sort of pull back on some of the advertising spend that they've had with Meta, just because they've, in some cases, sort of felt like, I could do this without having to spend all this money on Meta. I can do this sort of, it takes, like, you need to have the right people in place to be able to do it. It takes legwork and all that sort of thing. And then the other thing too, again, digitally, things have dramatically changed because everything's now about real-time bidding. And so everything just keeps evolving. So again, that's what's kind of exciting. And I think when you said, you've been doing this for 28 years, you really are into it. It's because it's never stayed the same. It's always changing. It evolves,
yes.
It's always
quickly.
changing. Yeah, and you really have to keep up. And I think, like you said too, that's why it's competitive, right? Because I think sometimes you can end up feeling like, oh gosh, did I get behind on what's currently in the marketplace? But it's constantly always evolving, and there's always something new and fascinating and interesting to sort of a new tactic to explore with a client where it makes sense.
That's what I mean. That job is not forever. That I'm exhausted just listening to what your day sounds like. I am done. So what would you say to anybody that is starting out saying, you know what, I think I want to go into advertising. I think I want to go into marketing.
Well, first of all, I always say that you want to talk to people that are actually in the business right now and have real conversations about what it really is like, because don't get me wrong, I have tons of friends in the industry that got married and had kids and all that kind of stuff, but it's really difficult, especially when you've got young children and families, and when you're on pitches, especially when you work for the larger organizations, like when you're in pitch mode, that's at least a week or two where you're not seeing your family, or then when you have to travel for work. And again, it just depends on the role that you have and, the client that you work on and that sort of thing. And then whether you're part of pitch teams or not. So you want to just make sure you have really honest conversations. And I always encourage people, like when they're in school, like high school students, or even those that are still in college and still deciding, have conversations with people that are actually doing the role, because most of the time they'll honestly answer you because you really want to know what's your real day-to-day life like, right? So, and I definitely made some sacrifices, like, as Donna and Petey know, I didn't get married until this year.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And I never had kids, and that's why we've got our fur babies, Maverick and Goose. So, but I've got lots of friends in the industry that they've been successful at having families and kids and stuff like that. But I do know that it taxed them, especially for the moms. Like, they never felt like they were, the same thing that I think most moms have, but the problem is when you're on pitches and things like that, even if you went home to work, you were bringing your laptop home to keep working. You put the kids to bed, and then you're still up till 5 a.m. working on the pitch deck. So, yeah.
Wow. It can definitely be a little bit of a hard time managing life-work balance there, for sure.
I don't know if there is a balance.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it. Like, certain points, it sounds like there is no balance.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's taken me, and you know me well enough that I still struggle with this even now. It's like having to set boundaries, like sort of saying, okay, I'm shutting down, because especially now in this day and age, like, you're constantly working from home and you're on your devices, like, you're always accessible, and I think you have to sort of set those boundaries.
Yes,
and sort of
absolutely.
say, and it really honestly comes down to like silencing the phone and, as you say, shutting down the laptop, and that's why I love working with you, because Donna will always promise to come and take my laptop to give me a break. Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Johanna is part of our team, our CKRT team, and she does our media and marketing, revenue, all of that stuff. So it's fantastic to be able to sit and have this part of because when we talk, it's generally about our work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of cool to hear the other side of it from you, over the years. So what's been your favorite that you've worked on?
Oh gosh. Like client?
Yeah, like for
oh gosh, it's what's crazy is it's hard to pick a favorite, because I've been so lucky and worked on so many amazing accounts, like everything from like I mentioned at the beginning, I was on Bell and Scotia Bank and FedEx, and then I transitioned over to another agency after 3 years and worked on Canada Trust and took them through the merger with TD. And we were part of that campaign that first did the TD chairs.
The green chair. Yep.
Oh, it was so much and again, I've worked on so many great accounts, and then from there, and at that time I worked on Evian as well, and a bunch of a beverage company, and then transitioned to another agency agency as a director at the age of 26, and I worked on home hardware. I actually worked on one of the longest accounts that I worked on throughout my career was home hardware. So I guess if I had to say a favorite, it would be them because of how long I worked with them. But in all honesty, I was always lucky in the fact that I always really got along well with my clients, and I was always lucky to work on such great accounts.
So you got to work on Disney too.
Oh yeah,
Disney,
so then
Barbie.
Barbie. So that was after. And even when I was working on home hardware, we worked on a bunch of accounts at that time too. Like Enterprise was a part of that. GE Appliances. There was a bunch of different accounts that we worked on. We did a lot of sports marketing as well. So working with the NHL and the CFL and Rogers Center and Maple Leafs Sports Entertainment. Like a lot of fun. And I have to say, Blue Jays, worked with them a lot. Spent a lot of time in the Blue Jays box. So,
that's really cool.
Which was fun. It's a lot of fun. And then I ended up afterwards then transitioning again to another agency where I worked on, like you said, Disney and Procter & Gamble, which was a lot of fun. So I was working on Pampers and Bounty and then Disney parks, like you said, parks and resorts and Disney cruise lines, and got to spend a lot of time with the Disney characters, which, by the way, they never break character. They never break character. So like when they're in costume, they never break character. Like, so even behind the scenes, they never break character until they're out of...
You think, God forbid, if the ship started sinking, they'd stay in character all the way to the end?
Like, you'd have to be like Mickey Mouse, like trying to save people. Exactly.
Yeah. You got Donald Duck, like, I'm golden, I'm good, I can float.
Well, and like the princesses, the Disney princesses,
yeah,
they're so amazing. Like, you know how like you like spending time with them, they're like just beautiful. And then even when working on Barbie and Hot Wheels, because that was Mattel, we over the course of the time we had, you know, did things where we hired models to be Barbie, and it was just so much fun. Like, I'll never forget that we did this shoot one time where we did a whole Barbie closet, and it was just like every woman's dream, like a rainbow of high heel shoes in every color and sparkle and design, and like even I just kept going into the pre-made closet, kind of going, I don't want to leave, right? Like, this is what you want, and every woman wants this in their home, right? So yeah, and then I worked on also Weight Watchers, then Kojiko. So I've been really, really lucky, and then obviously with my consulting business, worked with Alzheimer's, as well as obviously CKRT Border City Radio, FreshBooks, ABAC, Erie Street Woodworks. Like I've just really been lucky working on so many different accounts and brands. Like, and I feel bad because I know I'm missing one, so I don't want anyone to feel like. But yeah, no, there really isn't a favor because I was really lucky and I worked. And they all had their different challenges, but to me, the challenges were, that's where you do your biggest learning, right? So, and what was nice is I always felt like it was a partnership. Like when I work with my clients, it really is, it's being a part of the team and it's a partnership. Yeah.
So what would you say is the most satisfying part of, you know, working with these big companies or any company really? Is it a matter of, do you like seeing the satisfaction from the customer? Do you like to see your plan be made and then watch it go into fruition? What's the most satisfying part of the whole process for you?
I think that again, great question, Petey. It's two things. One, it's really exciting if I'm working on either a tactic or a campaign that might be really complicated, and when it actually goes successfully, that's sometimes the biggest joy of the campaign. And then the other one is I'm always really excited to be able to show a client, like, sort of twofolds. It's kind of revolves around return on investment. So being able to say, okay, you have this amount of a budget, but we've been able to put together this marketing campaign that actually provides you X amount of this much more added value, and then doing the post campaigns afterwards and showing, not only did I promise you this added value going in, we secured even additional added value throughout the campaign, and then being able to tie it back to return on investment and showing how, like, either, whatever their objective was, like, show the increase in sales, show the increase in followers, show the increase, whatever it is that they were trying to achieve. It's being able to sort of, like, that's the whole point of doing the post reports and post-campaign reports, is to be able to show this is what we had planned, this is what we achieved, and truly what we achieved for your business, to be able to tie it back to that it was a success. Because, like, because again, they have to report to their GM, their marketing department has to report to their GM to justify those budgets again for the following year. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, so any final words that you want to send out to people that are, maybe thinking about following in your footsteps? Any advice for companies that may be thinking about, calling someone for a consulting?
Yes. So first of all, so anyone that's thinking about getting into that line of work, you can always reach out to me and I'll give you honest answers and tell you what it's truly like.
How do they get a hold of you?
So it's on our website, CKRT Border City Radio, or on my website, which is www.jvconsulting.org. My email's listed on both websites, and so they can reach out, and I'd happily answer anyone's questions anytime, and happily also get them into connection with other people in the industry if they are interested in a specific field that they're a little more interested. Then also same thing with clients, they can reach out on the website as well as both websites, now I'm forgetting one of the questions that you asked me. Sorry.
For a company that is thinking about contacting you as for a consultation,
yep.
If they're thinking, well, I don't know what to ask, I don't even know where to start.
It really is like, shoot an email and let's have a conversation. Because the thing is, I think a lot of times, especially some of the smaller clients or companies are worried, or entrepreneurs are worried, I can't afford a marketing consultant because they're going to charge X amount of dollars and I want all those dollars to go towards advertising. I've worked with small businesses as well as large businesses, and I can always put something together that makes sense for them, and it's always worth having the conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say, from a personal standpoint, from being a business owner who has been working with you for months, if you are thinking about, maybe I need help, maybe I have to reach out, I don't know what to do, even if you send an email that says, I think I need to grow my business, I want to grow my business, I don't know where to start, help. Yeah. That's it. It can be as simple as that. And then, honestly, you've been a joy to work with.
Oh.
You've made things so much easier in the areas that I have no idea about. And I know, it's not my strong point.
I can vouch too.
Oh, you're so wonderful. But and you know what? I feel bad because I feel remiss talking about now working with you guys. The one part that I've said this too, because a lot of my friends in the industry say, you're so happy. I can tell you're so happy working with the station. And I said, yeah, because it's my two loves. It's doing what I love to do, and because I don't think I'm well suited to do anything else. And two, I love music. So like tying those two things, and Petey, you know that as an artist, like I truly love music and all forms of music. So it's the joy of, and that's why working with the station, I honestly feel so lucky working with both of you guys, because you're both so talented. And two, because the exciting part is getting these wonderful artists to give them a platform as well, like the interviews that we've been having, and it's an all around really fun experience. And like I honestly feel so lucky to have met both of you guys and to have you as part of my, just not my friends, my family.
Yes, we agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, don't hesitate to reach out to her. And if you go to our website, all of her information is there. She is part of our team. So if you look at the team, who our team is, you can find her stuff there.
Well, Johanna, thank you so much for allowing us into your beautiful home to do another segment of Expert in the House. Donna, any closing statements?
No, thanks for tuning in. And next week we have What?
I'm actually trying to remember.
something.
No,
Okay,
we
so-
have Cindy. We have Cindy Bondi from Color Me Ready.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
And she is going to do our colors the day before.
Yes.
And then we'll be able to kind of put a little bit of that on the air, because I've never had anything like that done.
No, me neither. And she's a trained trained in color analysis, and she's also an amazing makeup artist
Yes.
and hairstylist.
Oh, okay. I'm like, color and I'm like, what? I'm like, are we matching paint color? Like, what's going on?
I know
here?
there's so many options with colors.
I'm like, dang, we got color enthusiasts. Like, they really know their reds and
But you
blues.
know what will be great, Petey, is that she'll be able to look at you in the studio and say, Petey, you really should be wearing this color.
Yep.
Like, she might say, no more black, Petey.
Yeah, she might
Then
look at
I
me and
would-
be
I
like,
would
oh
ha-
my God, what are you doing, you poor soul?
Yeah. If she says absolutely no more black, I'm going to say, you know what? This interview's over. Like,
I know, it's our staple. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's always red or purple or black. Like, if she says no to those colors, I don't know what I'm going to do.
there may be tears.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
No, I'm really looking forward to that. So we've got some really good interviews coming up this weekend. We have on Saturday, we have Harboring Illusions that will be in at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
That'll be fun.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
They're very talented.
They are
and
very-
they just released I think they're releasing a new album right now, or they just released an album.
They're also up for an award with BizX.
Yes.
And speaking of, our very own here is up for an award.
Oh, thank you.
And it's in the...
It's the 2024 Powerhouse Professional with BizX magazine. So so if you feel inclined,
Voting is open.
yeah, and so is Harboring Illusions.
Yes.
And actually our real estate expert Amanda Andrews is up for real estate agent as well.
And we share... part of our building is Erie Street Woodworks. They're in there. JKD Custom Metals is in there. We do some
yes.
work with them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of our
Notice it's all the people we work with.
I know, right? Everybody's
there's a
getting
lot.
everybody's
We got-
nominated for awards.
We seem to carry that luck around.
Yeah, exactly.
ACS, Amherstburg Community
Yes.
Services, they're in there.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's like
that's
everyone
right.
but us. I'm just playing. We're still
But
new.
it's only because media companies.
Yeah,
couldn't
media
be a
is not
part of
allowed
it.
in.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's okay.
we can't take it personally because they don't let any media in.
that's okay. We can just talk about it.
That's right. Anyway, that's it for this week.
If you are listening on the station right now, just sit back, hang tight. You're going to hear some more awesome tunes from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go check out some of the other videos. I don't know. You might see one over here or over there, or I don't know, wherever
There.
you're seeing it. Who knows? It'll be there, though. And I hope you check it out, and I hope you like it. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
See you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.